Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. My next guest. Welcome to Tales with TR, by the way, episode 186B. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr. Here we go. Ladies and gents, my next guest hails from Perth, Ontario, and starred for the Smiths Falls Bears before moving on to play 2 solid years in the QMJHL, where he totaled 100 points and, amongst other things, was coached by hockey legend Patrick Waugh. After 4 more incredible seasons with Carleton University, this young prospect finished the 2016-17 season with the Syracuse Crunch of the historic American Hockey League. For the next 4 years, he'd take his talents to Europe for the most part and find much success in Germany, Denmark, and the English Elite Hockey League. This aspiring athlete was also an aspiring musician, however, and eventually his career in hockey gave way to his undeniable passion for creating and performing music. Today, he is the frontman for up-and-coming Canadian music act Boston Levi. He is a proud player, a sensational singer, a super songwriter, a fine forward, a serious sniper, a scintillating scorer, a magical musician. Folks, gophers dig holes, and this guy scores goals. The rumor is true. He can play guitar, too. He was slinky, not stocky, when he played junior hockey. He knows right from wrong and can write a great song. He's a power play choice with a hell of a voice. Folks, when I need cover, I do so under a canopy. And please welcome to my show, it's the man, Mike McNamee. How the hell are you doing, Mike?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. We appreciate it.
No sweat at all. Okay, so you're very intriguing. It's not the first time I've heard Boston Levi thrown out. A few of my buddies, are big fans. They introduced me to your music a little while ago, maybe even 2 or 3 years. I know you've been plugging away. Before we get to any of that, which I think is extremely intriguing, especially being an ex-player that delved over into the arts community, albeit acting, not music, I want to know, first of all, you grew up in Perth, Ontario. How old are you now?
I am 31.
31. Grew up in Perth, 45 minutes outside of Ottawa. Spent some time playing junior hockey there and back there now. So, that area of the world is near and dear to your heart. And growing up, were you a hockey fan, a music fan, both? Or what jumped at you first, if either?
It was hockey for sure, far before music. I mean, like any other Canadian kid, I was put on skates basically at the first chance I could get by my parents. And I
like
didn't
outdoors? You're in outdoor hockey, like central.
I was, yeah, for sure. Yeah, outdoors for sure. And I honestly didn't start playing guitar until I was like 19 or 20. So
didn't start playing guitar till then. So you were picking it up, what, in the back of the bus in the queue?
No, my family was pretty musical. Like my mom always sang in the choir and stuff. And my uncle always brought his guitar over and played for us. I have 2 sisters, and he would we actually call him Ding Ding because that's the sound a guitar makes.
Wow. So this goes way back.
He gave me a guitar when I was 13, I think. And I just remember saying I would never, ever play it. It never interested me. And then, like most guys playing junior, you have a lot of free time on your hands. And I just picked it up and started plugging away at my favorite songs and just kind of developed from there. Yeah.
Wow. So I'm a huge music fan. I mean, my daughter's name is Penny Lane.
Yeah.
And not just the Beatles are my favorite, but I'm a huge music fan. Growing up, I'm an only child now. My dad had thousands of albums, and with not as many choices like the internet, and my buddies were also into music. So we would often go through, and one by one over the years, if you go through a bunch of albums by a guy, my dad was into everything. I mean, I say classic rock, it was the 80s and 90s, but it was everything. It was jazz, it was classical, it was whatever. So I really developed, like at a young age, I think I could tell you more about the Beatles and other music acts that I like than I could about certain hockey players, if nothing else, just reading the liner notes that came with an album.
Fair enough, yeah.
So were you similar, or like you just mentioned your uncle and your mom? Would your family be your biggest influences, or at what point did they start to trickle outside of your family and you started to take notice of major bands?
I think subconsciously my family was probably my biggest influence at the time. Like I didn't know it. Like like I said, my mom sang in choirs and stuff, and I would always go to the church and like run around down the aisles while she was singing, kind of thing. And like obviously somewhere in my brain that was an influence on me. And then like the music my uncle played us, we were really young, but we obviously enjoyed it. But I don't think I enjoyed it, like consciously enjoyed it. Like, wow, I really enjoy that. And then honestly, like when I started high school, you're growing up and you're understanding like who you want to become. And I had a good buddy of mine who always threw new music at me in high school. And it was the first time I really dove into it. And it was like, that's when like Kings of Leon were big, and the Killers, and like I started listening to the Styx, and like the Ramones and stuff like that. But before that, I'll be honest, I didn't really like dive into stuff. So I guess through high school, and I will say Kings of Leon to this day is my favorite band. I think they just hit me at the right time in my life, and they stuck with, like, I'll listen to them every day.
When you went to play in Smiths Falls, would you finish high school there or go back to Perth?
Well, it was a 15-minute drive, so I drove there every day. I stayed in high school in Perth, and my parents, I was underage when I started playing, so like I couldn't drive, so my dad drove me to practice every day and back.
God, I thought it was like at least a half hour. I didn't realize it was only 15 minutes.
15 minutes.
So this is nice and convenient. By the way, I've seen games in Smiths Falls and I enjoyed them.
Yeah, it's I guess you've probably seen the old rink. They got a new one. In my last year, they built the new rink. So we were the first team to play in it before I left. But the old rink was something special. I got 2 years in it. So
it was a burn.
Yeah, a good definition of a burn for sure.
Interesting. So, listen, I really want to dive into the music, but because, like I said, that intrigues me a lot. But you do have an interesting hockey career, a very successful one, and a unique one. So it's 3 years in Smiths Falls. Then at 19, 20, which is tough to break into the queue at that age, and you break in, you play in Quebec, which must have been I mean, how did you get there? And Patrick Waugh is your coach after 3 years of I'm guessing you wanted to play in the queue. Did you go to camp while you were 16, 17?
Honestly, I didn't want to play in the queue.
Wow, really? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself.
So I was OHL property from where I'm from.
You would figure, yeah.
I got passed. I didn't get drafted, which at the time was, a big deal. Looking back on it, it doesn't really mean that much. But I had then set my sights on going NCAA school. So I was working towards that in my years of junior A. And then, I had some decent years there. It was nothing. There were by far better hockey players. And there was a showcase in my third year there. I guess I was 18, and I had a really good weekend, I guess. And there was a Quebec City scout who approached my parents and I, and the rest is kind of history. Like, they wanted me to leave in the middle of my 18-year-old year and go play. So right away, right before the deadline. And I actually said no. I don't know. I just wasn't ready to leave home, I guess. I'm a bit of a homebody. And then the next year, Patrick asked me to come to training camp, and I ended up making it. So I kind of wish I went halfway through my 18-year-old year. It was obviously an amazing experience, and turned the tables in my career for sure. So it was good.
Well, I mean, look, for those that don't know and follow junior hockey, it's tough to make it at 19. I don't mean skill wise. What I'm saying is that there are people that have been there,
right? That
they've trained, that they've practiced, that are now scheduled to come into their own.
Yeah.
And to usurp them at 19 is an odd thing, no matter what. If you're in the Western League, OHL or Q, it's pretty much the same. Now you go in and you get a point a game. You're coached by Patrick Waugh. By the way, Freddie Waugh's son played with you that year.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
You're
Freddie's
right.
in Shoresy now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I just left. Like, I just saw him a couple of weeks ago. We hang out now. I actually met him when he was about 3 years old.
Okay.
Way back. But I had no idea, none, that he was as good a player as he is and that he played. So, I got to know what it was like being coached by Patrick Waugh. I know the guy has a temper. He's to be respected. But, I mean, I got to know him in the room a little bit. I got the feeling he didn't want to always be, I wasn't in his ear every day. Hey, Pat. But I found that he was a lot gentler than I thought, and he could be spoken to. He seemed like a really smart guy. I have no idea what he'd be like to be my coach.
Right.
You're coming in from Smiths Falls,
Yeah.
tier 2, and you're walking onto that, a 19-year-old in that situation. How was it?
It was a lot. I remember, like you said, I was in a small town of Smiths Falls. The hockey there was important, but it wasn't. I mean, you can't even compare it to where I was going. And yeah, just having Pat, obviously, he's legend, and like you said, obviously, just super competitive. Number one, number two, passion. As much as you can get from someone. He was demanding. I mean, anything greater than the league I was playing in would be more demanding than what I was used to. But I think he was fair, to be honest. Like,
that's good to hear.
He's like I said, it's just the competitiveness that comes out, and then that kind of bleeds into you. So looking back on it, he was a great guy. Like, if I wanted to approach him, he was very approachable for me, and he was very nice to my family, all that stuff. So I thank him for that. But I love those years because looking back on it now, it's like he was the first one to really instill competitiveness and passion for the game in me. And I truly believe that to this day. So to me, that experience it took a lot to get used to, but once I was comfortable and everything like that, it was, worth the price of admission kind of thing.
Do you find parallels in the two professions? I mean, it doesn't. I don't necessarily mean performing. I mean what he's asking of you.
I mean,
I guess, as an artist, did you ask it of yourself?
I think so. Like, after that year in Quebec City, like I said, it was the first time like real competitiveness was asked of me, I think, and I tried to carry that through my career, obviously. And then going into music, it's like I started expecting a lot of myself in hockey, as most of us do. And I expect no less in music. Like, when it's time to perform, it's time to perform, and there's no fucking around, and it's showtime kind of thing, and work has to be done. Work is done. There's time for play, as there is in hockey, but when it's time to step up to the mic, you're either ready or you're not. And I mean, we're young in the music industry, but we've got an amazing group, and we've done a really, really good job so far, like with the opportunities we've gotten. And you try not to fall flat on your face, but a lot of them we've knocked out of the park, to be honest. So,
and where did the group come from, and why Boston Levi?
Yeah, like I started it kind of by myself. Like, I didn't have a band 2 years ago.
I didn't think so.
I got hooked up with a man who is now my manager. I don't know if you know the band, the Glorious Sons, but
I do. I just actually watched them.
You watched them in Sudbury, yeah.
In Sudbury, yeah. And we went. Packer, I think their drummer.
He's the drummer, yeah.
Yeah, he got me backstage. It was great. I love. And by the way, I do find some of your songs are influenced by. I don't mean that in a negative. I love the Glorious Sons.
Yeah.
And I sometimes hear shades of them in your music, as I do other. I can tell some influences, as you might guess. It's great stuff. I love them. Yeah.
So Jay, their guitar player, is actually our manager now.
Oh, really? I didn't know this. Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I met him. They were playing in their first European tour when I was in Germany, and I was a huge fan of the band, growing up and going through university. So I went to their show in Germany, and there was like 12 people there or something like that.
Yeah, wild.
And he asked me to have a beer after the show, and I was a super fan. So I kind of slipped him the note that I play guitar. At that time, I played guitar, nothing crazy, drunkenly at parties. But I then started sending him like snippets of songs that I would write. Like, this is now getting into my years in Denmark and Cardiff. And he was so nice to me. Like, he would always reply and always say, like, that's an average song. That's a good song. It sounds good. And then I sent him what would be our first release, which was Feel It All. And that was the first time he ever called me. He called me immediately, and he's like, "That's a really special song."
It is, yeah.
And
I like that song.
When I came home that summer, he asked me to come down and record. And honestly, the rest is now we're here. So
I'm guessing he liked "Run Baby Run." I'm assuming.
Yeah, he did.
Because I thought that was the glorious song when I heard it. That was great. It's a great song. Really like. I didn't realize it was the same person that Cody Donahue, my buddy who played in Quebec the year after you, had sent me. Again, I heard of you. It was at least 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's snippets in my head. I don't know. I'm absorbing a lot, but I love music, and him and I are real big fans. Like, we're into the old stuff. We're in an America phase now. And anyway, he turned me onto it, and then I didn't put two and two together. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So this happens. And by the way, side note, when my book was coming out in 2016, it was either 16 or 17. I was in Ontario, and Dave Bedini of the Rio Statics, he was kind of doing this tour. He's an author as well. And he said, come with me and we'll go. And I went to Kingston. I spoke at Queen's University.
Okay, no way.
They were playing.
Oh, yeah,
they were right big on the local scene then.
Oh, yeah.
I think nationally, some people, I certainly didn't, but that's when I first saw them.
Yeah.
So I saw them thinking, wow, this is the best bar band I've seen. And then I came home and they're like opening for the George Street Festival a year later and everything. So, but anyway, my first experience was similar to yours. So,
awesome.
And we're going to get back to that in a second, because after you go to Sherbrooke, from Quebec, as a 20-year-old, I'm guessing, Sherbrooke needed some 20-year-olds, needed some veterans, of which you are right now, and you go there and you don't disappoint. You have a point a game. 2 real solid years in a little box in the Quebec League. So I'm guessing, if I'm wrong, let me know. But from there, now, you're late bloomer when it comes to the Q.
Yeah.
You know how many players I know that played 4 or 5 years junior that actually got drafted that didn't get to play in the American League?
Right.
You walk in at the end of 16-17, Syracuse Crunch. A very historic team in, some would argue, the second best league on earth. And you waltz in. Now, I'm not patty caking your 4 years in Carleton, because they were fucking great.
Yeah.
Right? But not everybody gets that opportunity. How did that happen?
Yeah. It was, I don't know. I put in, like you said, I had good years in university.
Real good.
I think I really found myself as a player. I was given a lot of freedom from the coaches at Carleton, and I kind of just ran with it. And I'll be dead honest with you, Carleton was the last place I ever wanted to go. I think I was one of those kids, like you said, I had a decent 20-year-old year. I was hoping for pro, as a lot of people do, but I never thought I would go back to school. And my first year, I had a good year on the ice, but I mean, I was failing classes like crazy. And then in my second year, I just went through some stuff personally, and I really dove into the school scene, and I went to every class kind of thing. And I started hanging out with my teammates more, and I became, a good teammate kind of thing. And I really, really, really love my time at Carleton. And to be honest with you, it was a very difficult spot for me to leave behind. And going to Syracuse, I started getting attention in my third year at Carleton. And then there was some talk about me leaving after my third year, and I decided to stay back for a fourth. Like I said earlier, I'm a bit of a homebody.
Yeah.
And then they just kept pushing kind of. And then once my university career ended, it was a pretty hectic 3 or 4 days. There was a few teams that were kicking tires, and we ended up choosing Syracuse. And then
you and your agent?
Mike, I didn't have an agent. My coach at the time, who actually,
you're going around like, it's amazing that it's amazing you did what you did. Anyway,
my coach is actually now assistant coach in Winnipeg, Marty Johnson.
Actually, yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot that.
So he was fielding calls like from these pro teams, and he's like, I'm talking to like GMs that I never thought I would ever talk to, kind of thing. And we sat down with my family and him, and we just kind of pinpointed Syracuse. They were showing the most interest for the longest period of time, I think. And went in there, and it did not go as planned, honestly. I was not prepared for that jump. both as a human or as a hockey player, and still a little disappointed with how I performed, but such is life.
That's tough to jump in, especially at that time of year. It's not exhibition. It's like, come on in when we're trying to, like, the most important possible time of year.
Yeah.
Here, get your feet wet. That's wild. Now, listen, though, of those 4 years, I know you're like leading scorer, 3 of them. And the other one, I think you were second. I mean, you had major success, All-Star. But one of those years, didn't you play the World Junior team when they came through?
I played them in 2 years.
Twice. Was that in like an All-Star team from the division?
No, that was the whole country.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I just was unaware that sort of thing happened. I remember kind of a little bit of feed on TV, but I kind of forgotten, to be honest.
Yeah.
And when I looked into your past, I saw that you were playing during that time. So take me through that. They made an All-Star team from the country. You're on it, obviously. Where did you guys play the World Junior team? When? And I mean, packed with superstars. Not that you didn't play with some, but now all of a sudden, I mean, it must have been an otherworldly experience, was it?
It was cool. Yeah, we played them in Toronto. I think it's the MasterCard where the Leafs practice. There's a.
Oh yeah, I know where you mean. Yeah, over at Etobicoke there.
So it was a 2-day thing both times. I played them one night, played them next night. It was really cool. I think the coolest part for us is, like, you know, as a university player, there's teams you'll never ever get to play. Obviously, from the West and the East, and you're checking the stats and all that stuff. And there's obviously good players across the country, and you kind of finally just get a chance to play with those guys. And really, really fast. Obviously, it's 2 days. I think you're there for 3 days total. But like you said, you're playing against some pretty good hockey players. I think my first year it was like Braden Point and those guys, and I forget who was there the second year.
I mean, within years, they're going to have Stanley Cups, right?
Yeah.
I still find that. I mean, I played in the Western League, and like Jerome McGinley I'd play against, and
Right.
I went higher than he did in the draft. Like, and I look back and I'm like, wow, it's almost like now I can finally see it through the lens that it should have been seen through.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just a lot happening, and I look back, I'm like, wow, you know, some of that stuff was off the charts. Like, I'm a hockey fan here now.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a hockey fan. I turn on the TV. I'm like, wow, yeah, I was there once. And but look, one thing I'll say, I think the most underrated brand of hockey in the whole world is Canadian University. These guys like yourself, a lot of people develop late, and they go, and there's nowhere to go because junior stops at 20, and you're like, wow, they're still improving. They're on the way up. But a bunch of guys got drafted and signed, and like now you're 3 years away, 4 years, and you're starting to see, okay, so-and-so has actually got more potential than this person, but they're already drafted and they're there, and there's a big game. But I'm telling you, for 2 full summers, I stayed at University of Alberta, and I practiced with them.
Okay.
Fast more than anything. I thought they were like great skaters. And then 2 more summers after that, I practiced with St. Mary's, and both teams, while I was there, ended up shortly after winning the national championship.
Yeah, they've got some good programs for sure.
Oh, fuck, man. And it's great hockey. I still go whenever I possibly can to watch any Canadian university. Well, university in general, just most of my friends are in Canada. So that was a nice experience then, playing in Carleton, even though you didn't want to go there at first, you said, but it's close to home. You developed a lot of friends and family and being teammates and everything. And so it was hard to move on. But when you did, you went to Syracuse. Now, after that, it's not like it's over. You go, how is it, Nauheim? Is that where you went first?
Yeah, it was Nauheim in Germany.
That's a hard league to get into. Del 2, yeah.
I think like obviously the games that I played in the AHL to end my year probably
helped
put me on the radar for them. But yeah, there's only 4 imports in that per team in that league. So I think it was a bit of a luck, and I went there and I absolutely loved it.
So you must have. I'm looking at you. I mean, it was 3 years over there, but you flourished, and you're traveling now, and you're getting paid. How was all that?
It was great. I do still think back, like I remember when they released me from Syracuse, they said, like, if you spend some time, obviously, in the coast and stuff like that, you know, you could probably make your way back up, kind of thing. But I was really mad at kind of myself, to be honest, with the Syracuse experience. I just wasn't ready mentally, and I was having a tough time with it. So whenever
you're putting on your skates before the game, and you're questioning it, I've been there in certain places. It's your interview. I'm sorry to take, but I went up to Hershey one year, and I realized when I got called up to Hershey, I was holding out from Montreal. I was playing in the coast. I went up for 8 games, and I realized I'm fighting. And they're like, just like, most of our guys are already signed. You're a great player, but we need a fourth liner. And I remember, like, it's tough when I'm not motivated. I'm before the game, and my head's elsewhere, and I'm going, here I am in Hershey, and what am I doing? These guys don't even feel like my teammates.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to buy in, but I'm like, at no point in Hershey was my head into it like it should have been locked in as a hockey player. I don't know if that's the same sort of thing.
Yeah. And I just I don't know. I was just kind of fed up with it. Like, I didn't really want to go to the coast, to be honest. And
no, of course
then
not.
this European door opens, and I took it, and it was the right choice in my personal opinion.
Yeah, man. So 3 years. I mean,
yeah,
and you scored the first thing, by the way, when I put up your picture that you were going to come on, like, I must have had 25 responses from Cardiff alone.
Yeah.
Cardiff. So you made an impact in each team, but Cardiff would have been your last team in Europe.
Yeah.
The fans I know there can get pretty rowdy, and they were big supporters. So
yeah,
not that that's any better, but I got Cody over there. He's playing in Cardiff now. So what did you like about that place in general?
It just felt like home, to be honest. Yeah, it's a great place. There's great people, great owners, great management, and they do their due diligence in terms of the guys they bring in. And I don't think it's possible to find a closer group of guys than the guys that I had when I was there. We were well on our way to winning the league title, and then COVID hit. I would highly predict we would have won the playoffs as well. And then I had signed to go back, and then the season got canceled, obviously. But yeah, I got a lot of good things to say about Cardiff, and the fans, obviously, they still care. So it means a lot.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of great feedback. You really made an impact on and off the ice. So when you go, I don't want to poo-poo the other years because you must have enjoyed it. You had good success. You're in the DEL, which those who don't know is Germany, and then the next year Switzerland. So the same part of the world there, different languages, but you're getting accustomed to pro hockey. Was that an easier transition, despite the language change, than it was to go to Syracuse at the end of the year before?
I will just say it was Denmark, not Switzerland.
Oh, sorry, Denmark. Yes.
All good. The transition between the European countries was fine. I did like every place, obviously, for different reasons. Germany, I had an amazing group of imports, like best friends to this day.
Great.
I'm still best friends with a few of them. Denmark was a little bit different. I kind of struggled personally, just like in life. Like it was so north. It was dark all the time. I found myself in the bars more than I probably should have been. It went well. The season went well. Just like, I don't know if I enjoyed where I was at personally, and then obviously go to Cardiff, and it's like the best thing of my life. So that was good.
Understandable. And look, 2021, you go back, you play 10 games in the coast. I'm assuming, I don't want to jump too far ahead, that was just, your heart wasn't in it. You stopped. So I'm going to guess you went into music from there, but we'll get into that in a second. So all this time that you're going on this minor league journey, you started guitar at 18 or 19 or 20, whatever. Now you must be a few years into it. Are you writing songs yet? Are you using, like, what I would do, honestly? Again, I'm an only child. I had no brothers and sisters growing up and I was always into creative arts. I was a writer more than anything. I wouldn't have thought I would have been an actor, but it doesn't.
I can tell by your intro.
Well, there you go. Little things like that. I was the kid on the bus making little rhymes and stuff, right? So, but for me, I would write, like, I got a book. I got 2 books, but my first one, Tales of a First Round Nothing. People are like, how was it to write that book? I'm like, well, it was almost process of elimination, because a lot of it was just journals. Like, leaving home. I'm the only Newfoundlander to play in the Western League. I go out, I lead my junior team in scoring at 14. Yeah. Then I go to the Western League, and go 8th overall. Like, all these fantastical things were happening around me, that it was my mom and dad would make me read or write 15, 20 minutes a night, often morphed into an hour. So it almost was like it became, I'm really an anxious kind of person naturally. So it became a way to harness that energy.
Yeah.
And I could detach myself and be a writer, I guess, or, like a lot of people just pick up a diary. I would pick up and write stories around my experiences. I didn't know where they would go, but
Right.
it doesn't surprise me that at some point I tried to get them published, which ended up being the book.
Yep.
But I was writing whatever the word is to ease some tension, to detach myself, and whatever I write about would be irrelevant, but I'd often come back somehow introspectively for it to be, I would go, okay, that's my life. And
Right.
so, but were you writing for that reason, or you were like, just like a hockey player works on his shot, you're going, okay, I'm going to be a singer-songwriter, I'm going to learn how to do it, or was it like easing tension?
I think it transitioned from easing tension into gradually into, well, now for sure I kind of do it as a job, but at the start, I wrote my first song. I think I was 21, and I was in university. But at that time, like I wasn't showing anyone anything. It was like my door is locked in my room, and I'm writing.
Okay.
Probably like.
So you weren't yet confident.
Oh no, no, and it took me a long time to figure out like how to sing and play. Like I don't know. It was a journey for sure, and but like I really dove into the guitar when I went to Germany. Like it came with me. Talk about time to kill over there. Like, yeah, I was living by myself over there. So
all the boys probably playing video games.
Yeah, but like that's when I first started. Like there was a couple times in university at parties, I'd bring it out and sing like Wagon Wheel for people so they can go nuts and stuff like that. But in Germany, like there was one guy, he used to play for the team. He was a Czech guy, and he moved back. He was like 50 years old, and he bought a bar in the small town. By the way, the town is where Elvis was stationed when he was in the war. Now,
whoa, being a musician, I love Elvis too, man. I love everything Elvis. What was the name of it? Nauheim.
Bad Nauheim, yeah. So there was like they have a Elvis festival there every year, and like
really,
yeah, and there's like the hotel he stayed in is still like the way it was, kind of his room is like the way it was, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
kind of cool. So this Czech guy came back and he bought a bar in the town, and like after we won and stuff, everybody would just shuffle down to this bar, and then I would play guitar in the bar like after
I see.
So that's when it really started, and it's like, fuck, this
spreading
is pretty
your
fun.
wings.
Yeah, pretty fun. So it grew over there for sure.
Okay, now I've got to ask. I don't want to get too personal and if it does get there, you don't have the answer. Some of these songs are real deep, though. Like I said, I love the Beatles and I think they changed the world. I think that it transcends music for so many reasons. But early Beatles, it's cute. You can tell that they're please me, please, please me. There's little inflections of wordplay. She Loves You starts with the chorus. There's things, I'm not a musician, but I know listening that it must have been different for that time. Especially we get into their older stuff, it's obvious. But when they're younger, it's a bunch of guys that are writing almost simple songs. Your start, like, I don't know where you started, but I'm going, if we were just to take Run Baby Run, Feel It All, Ghost of You, okay?
Yeah.
To me, this sounds like a 60-year-old that's been married 4 times, is going, holy shit, I know all there is to know about inner emotions, about adversity when it comes to women or men or whatever the fuck, I don't care. But so is all that drawn from somewhere? You don't have to get specific, or there's also, I know a lot of people that have never really been in love, but that can write about it, right? They might relate it to something else, right? There's all different kinds of love, and you can harness energy in different ways. So is this introspective, or are you where are you drawing the inspiration for these incredibly written songs to come from?
I appreciate that. A lot of them are my experiences. Like Feel It All it says what's love at 16. So you basically know what that one's about. Ghost of You is about a friend who I had growing up. really, really close friend, and we just kind of stopped talking one day, and we don't talk anymore.
Interesting.
But it's like that feeling of, that if you got back together with them, it's like nothing would have changed, kind of thing. There are a lot of my experiences, but I will say, like, I've met a lot of people on my journeys, and like Thief is probably one of my, I would say, best written song. It's what I kind of hang my hat on for now.
Give you goosebumps. Yeah.
That was about a buddy of mine who was like at the bottom of the barrel and had been through hell and back, and he chose to talk to me, which I think is really special. And that one's about him. So like, if I'll draw off anybody's not relationships, but experiences that I've heard. I am not good at fabricating stories. Like I don't know. I can't do that. So I draw off people I've met, stories I've heard from buddies, friends, family, all that stuff. And for sure myself, like, pretty emotional dude. So whatever works.
Yeah, it seems like that. You're deep. And when I want to clarify for people listening, I don't think you can just relate anything to anything. What I'm saying is Cecilia, I believe, by Paul Simon, isn't that about the writing process in general? Stand By Me, I know. Benny King, I believe I don't know, but I'm led to believe from reading books, it's about his friend who is dying. It often sounds like a love song when it's love. Right. It's just might be a little twist on love that you're thinking. So that's where I'm coming from when I say that. Now, here we go. Some of my favorite lyrics by you, and I want to know where this comes from, if anywhere. Rules we break. We're all broken on the inside. We burn our souls to be alive. It all comes crashing in. It's the last breath you take. Reckless mistakes in this life, debt and regret, they're all right. He's public enemy number one. And then repeat. So where is this goes on and on. I don't want to waste people's time, but I also want them to know how deep the writing is. And if that intrigued you at all, please look in and start with the song Rules We Break. Now, it had to come from somewhere, and I'm just curious where.
It's just another buddy I grew up with, and good kid. It just made a mistake in his life, and it happens, I think, a lot when you think about life. Like, someone makes one mistake and seems to be all they're really remembered for, kind of thing. But there's a lot more to him than the mistake he made, and that's kind of what it's getting at. But everybody just kind of remembers him for how he fucked up, kind of thing. So
see, I think a great singer-songwriter can really metaphorically get the point across. With me, I'd be able to rhyme it. I get it. I'd be more inclined to write a short story. If I look at that, I'd use that word. Oh, the mistakes we make. But you're going, we're all broken on the inside, which, man, anybody can relate to that. We burn our souls to be alive. So many and to me, I just see myself at a young age, like just so many stupid things that could have been, I don't know, drinking and driving when I'm 17. Not that I did it all the time, but I remember or making a decision to get in a car with, or, I don't know, getting in a bar fight at a young age, or stupid things that could have set my life and career in whatever. I would have omitted having children or just things but we all do them. That's why we can identify.
Yeah.
Right? We've all walked across the street and nearly been hit by a car. What if? Yeah. I get all of that. Reckless mistakes in this life, debt and regret, they're all right. It's almost like, we're all human, right? I mean, so is that, it seems almost effortless when you say it and when you're reading it. So I guess I asked Jim Cuddy this. Jim Cuddy wrote the foreword to my book, by the way. I got to know him. If you think I'm grilling you, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I like Jim like I like Paul McCartney. I'm going, holy shit, I did the Juno Cup with him, and I got to know him. So the first thing I asked him, I'll ask you, what comes first when you're writing? Is it the melody or the lyrics?
Yeah, I think it's melody for me. I go through some serious writing waves. Like, if you ask me to sit and write a song today, I probably couldn't get like 2 lines. And then like 2 weeks from now, I could sit in this very room and write like 4 songs in 2 days.
Does it ever come to you like, and you're like, oh God, like sometimes something will happen and I'm like
I gotta go.
Fuck, I gotta go write it now.
Yeah.
Does that ever happen to you?
For sure.
Oh.
And a lot of the time, honestly, like I'll forget, like if I don't, like you said, I gotta go now. And then I'll go, let's say it's an hour later and I'll be like, fuck, I forget what it was.
Yeah, I've been there, and I'm just thinking of an idea to write for like a short story or a chapter. You're if you miss that, something that inspires you, like as a song, you can't really miss that boat. Can you imagine? I say I love the Beatles. I love the Stones too. Keith Richards, Satisfaction, and Paul McCartney, Yesterday. These guys dreamt it and got up and set it into a recorder. If not, we wouldn't have those songs, which are huge songs by those bands that kind of shaped a lot of young artists at the time and still do, right? So I often say, like, and I always think of that, what would Paul McCartney do? Not that I'm Paul fucking McCartney, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, since I've started, I mean, I am nowhere near an excellent writer or anything like that, but like I've been asking, some of my favorite people that I've met, like Brett Emmons' example for the Glorious Sons. It's like I ask him how he writes. And I think what I've kind of figured out is it's kind of like anything. There is no perfect, way to write. It's like whatever works for you. Some days I wish I could write every day, but then I just tell myself it's like, that's just not how it's supposed to be for me, kind of thing. So when the time hits, like when the wave hits, I make sure I spend hours on end just sitting here, and generally what comes out is good. Like our first EP, like Thief, Rules We Break, Feel It All, Lost My Meaning, like those songs were written in basically a day and a half, which is outrageous in my opinion. Like I wish I could spread it out over.
That is outrageous.
Yeah, like some days I wish I could write 2 weeks straight, a song a day, but instead I'm writing 4 songs in 2 days, which if that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be.
If that's how it's going to be, that's how it's going to be. I think you've just started to write your next song. Okay. One more song I want to ask about, Lost My Meaning. Where did that come from?
It was actually written with my manager, Jay.
Okay.
So we were in a session, we recorded Feel It All and Rules We Break, or Thief.
And this is Prophecies. So this was earlier on, right?
Yeah, this was 2020, I guess. And we stopped recording because we finished the songs we wanted to do, and then we had some extra time. And he had the first few lyrics. He had the first few lines. I'm tired of getting by. Don't want to hear more lies. And then we just kind of grew off that, and it was done. Honestly, the lyrics were done in like 20 minutes.
Wow. That's fucking crazy how you just said, and I know what you mean, how you could sit there and like, if I got to write a song for you now, I'd rather not have the gun to my head and have to do, but yet when it comes, it flows. It's almost like it comes from another spot. Like I'm not overly religious, but spiritual or karma. There's something to do with energies that I think, I don't really know what it is, but something, because when that feeling happens to me, and again, it might be really a year might go by and it doesn't happen. I got one short film and it's called The Stand-In. For those listening, want to watch it on YouTube. And it was definitely introspective. It's about a young actor, which I didn't realize I was going to end up being at that time, really. I just had access. I was working on a film crew and I had access, and I had this little short thing written. I'm like, I might as well get it out there. I just had an idea one night. I was actually doing locations. I was working as a production assistant, just yawning, making sure that people didn't walk through the shot. I had an idea and I went with it. Not that it matters, but everybody has, it's not that I knew it wasn't going to win a fucking Oscar, but it's nice to take advantage of that energy that you feel.
For sure.
Bet the action on the ice with DraftKings Sportsbook. With DraftKings, you can bet on any game you want. Whether you want to bet the puck line or the over-under, DraftKings has something for everybody. And if you want, you can throw down on your favorite player as an anytime goal scorer. Or if you're looking for a long-term bet, maybe you want to predict the Stanley Cup champion. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code THPN. New customers get $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on hockey. That's promo code THPN, as in the Hockey Podcast Network, only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. The crown is yours. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gambling resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2023, all rights reserved.
So you opened for the Glorious Sons. That must have been unbelievable. I'm guessing the biggest band you've opened for. And how was that? I mean, wherever they play nowadays is a fucking gong show. I saw them in Sudbury and you couldn't hear yourself think. I can't imagine opening up for them with a guy like you. So how did that go?
Honestly, that's our 6th time opening for them now. We did a 4-show run with them last Christmas. But New Year's was the biggest it's been for sure. That was at the Leon Center where the Frontenacs play.
Oh, yeah.
It was crazy. It was our first time playing an arena, and it went well. Yeah, it was a good feeling. It was nice to get a taste for sure.
Who then would have been your big? I know you cover Cocaine Cowgirl. I've seen Matt Mays 1,000 times. Those that don't realize, he's from Cole Harbour, same street as Sidney Crosby. Not that I am. I'm an Atlantic Canadian, proud of it. And I noticed you sing Matt Mays.
Yeah,
I love Matt Mays, and some Springsteen. So what? I mean, again, you're a singer-songwriter. This doesn't surprise me that you're into these bands, but who would have been your biggest musical influence then, outside of the Glorious Sons, who obviously, I mean, and you're being managed by one of them?
Yeah. You know? I mean, like I said, I think passively when I was a kid, like my parents grew up listening to like Rod Stewart, Gordon Lightfoot.
Okay.
Like,
so it still goes back there.
For sure. Like I remember, but like at that time, I don't remember being like, I want to listen to these people, you know? Like I remember they got me, actually, I don't even know if they got it for me, but I always had this, it was a Garth Brooks cassette, and like I would always play it. And like Garth is obviously a really good writer. He did well for himself, but
he certainly did. Yeah.
But back then, again, I don't remember actively thinking like, wow, this is really good kind of thing. And then, like I said, once high school hit, like I can't put into words the impact Kings of Leon had on me. Like straight through.
Good timing for that.
Straight through my heart. Like
they were getting big right in your wheelhouse.
Oh, they were. Yeah. But then like I actually first got introduced to their older stuff. Like I said, I had that one buddy.
Okay. Like 07, 08 type stuff.
Yeah. Like Taper Jean Girl and all.
I remember hearing them 07, 08 the first time. I was like, wow, it's always different. Like I like hearing something different. And if not that I was looking for it, but I was like, geez, man, this sounds really unique.
And I was like I said, I was growing up, like I was in high school. I wanted to be a bit of a rebel. And like, I just remember being like, yeah, I'm listening to these rock and rollers. Like these guys are fucking badass kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And they've been huge to this day. But honestly, like when I think back, like the most Rod Stewart was always playing.
Okay.
So whether or not that was an influence,
can't go wrong.
Yeah.
My top 10 songs of all time is definitely Maggie May. I know it's
whole,
but it's just, I love that song. You know, it's about him and an older lady.
I did not know that.
In the song, it's about a teacher, but he met her I saw an interview with him. He met her at a concert. He was like 16. She was like
Okay.
35. Right. And he kind of and he saw her a little bit after that. And she kind of gave him the 10 of hearts. So he kind of wrote about it. And anyway, I'd like it anyway. And I love how the mandolin just makes an appearance. But I can go on about Rod Stewart all the time. I'll tell you this, man. Wheelhouse growing up was the Springsteen albums because my dad had all of them. So I would listen. And you talk about melody lyrics. I didn't realize how good of a lyricist he was because I was hooked in by all the sounds, like the E Street Band. I love, right? Like Born to Run. I could just listen to that it didn't matter what the lyrics were, even though when I listened to them, I'm like, wow, this is kind of a love song.
Right.
Like this, if it's slowed down. So by the way, the point I'm getting at is that I never really listened to the words of Dancing in the Dark. I can say them. I saw you do it live and I'm like, okay, this is a little bit different. Now it sounds like, whoa, now I'm getting goosebumps. Now I'm like, holy shit, what a deep song. I can't believe I'm saying it about Dancing in the Dark. So at some point, I guess lyrics matter. And just your decision to slow that down, was that why? It's almost an eerie kind of, it's a great take on the song. I can't put it into words, but I really like it. Poignant. It's almost poignant.
There's, I've been lucky with the group that we've assembled as a band. We have 5 people and like 5 completely different avenues of influences of where we've come from. And that comes out like one of our guitar players, huge Springsteen fan, like massive. One of our guitar players listens like John Fogerty. One of our guitar players, drummer listens to Eagles, all that stuff. So it's like, in terms of covers, like you're saying, like we do Cocaine Cowgirl, we do some Kings of Leon song, we do Springsteen. It's like, we'll just sit there and be like, what could be cool?
Yeah.
How can we make it sound like Boston Levi kind of thing?
Love it. I love that you do that because no one ever wants to say it, but I'm like, even the best bands ever, I'm like, just don't play your whole full new album that I don't know one song. Like tease me with something that's at least a little bit familiar. And I like that you pepper those in because it's great. And it's a different take. You're right. It's a different take. Yeah. You're not sitting there going, okay, how can I imitate this? This isn't Weezer's Black Album a couple of years ago, which I loved, but they're clearly, or is it the Black Album? Well, one of them, they covered Africa and Billie Jean and a bunch more. It was neat, but now they're 25 years established, but I do like your take. Where you guys are recording soon, front row lady, Sandra, my good friend Sandra Lee tells me.
Yes, we are, in the end of January, we're supposed to get in there and we kind of just got the dates dialed in, but super excited. We've got some, like I said, we're obviously growing and kind of finding a sound that we want to sound like, and I think we're really excited for what's to come. So
I'd love to see you over here at George Street Festival. Sandra knows what I'm talking about.
Someday.
Well, I think you qualify now. It's great. It's a week and it's 3 acts a day, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I saw the Glorious Sons there last year.
Right.
Again, I've seen them like 10 times. But Arkells, like it's usually each night there'll be a very established band like that, and then leading up, it's usually a local, then kind of a middle feeler out act like yourself on the way up usually.
I hope someday for sure we get out there. I think the East Coast is I think it would suit our music.
Oh, it certainly would, and it's inspiring if nothing else, my friend. By the way, St. John's way overrepresented when it comes to the creative arts. We've got all kind, like you go downtown and it's rare not to have a singer or someone playing something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I love all the towns that I've played. I remember playing in Red Deer in junior. What a spot to play hockey. But if you wanted to go see a live band, you had to search, right?
Yeah.
You had to search. Hopefully someone with a guitar at the Blarney Stone tonight. Just tell me someone has a musical instrument and can do something. Well, here it's like order a coffee in a tiny little space, right, that holds 10 people and there's someone in there playing. Anyway, you'd really get off on it. Now, before I go on, you're still involved in hockey, right? You're coaching.
I do coach back at Carleton University.
Okay, so Are you like private lessons? Or are you coaching with the team?
No, I'm one of the assistant coaches of the varsity hockey team.
Beautiful. So I mean, this is fucking what a life you're having. You got your foot into both fucking worlds.
I'm doing I was. I mean, obviously, for anybody retiring is not an easy decision. I did feel like I still say to this day, if I was still playing in Europe, I might still be playing hockey.
Yeah, I would have found that tough to give up.
If it wasn't for COVID, the only reason I went to Greenville was obviously to stay in shape. But my coach from Cardiff went and got the coaching job in Greenville. And I went with him, with my roommate, Sam Jardine. He's my roommate. He went to Greenville. He's like, come. So I went. And then like you said, I kind of just got sick of the bus and doing all that stuff. And we had started music at that time. We had a few of the songs recorded. So I kind of took a chance. But coaching keeps me in it. It's just nice to be able to get on the ice every day still. So.
Hey, I think it's awesome, and you get to be involved in both, man. You're still like, and you're a young guy, but I tell you, it doesn't surprise me. I've often said it, knowing what I know after I retired, and I went over, I'm more ball hockey now than anything, but I've scouted, I've been over, I played in Europe. I was with Cincinnati, and we went over and played all the teams for a full month in the coast.
Yeah.
They took us over there for camp. We played Italian teams, one in Switzerland, a few in Germany. I think 12 games we played. And after seeing it, I said, I can understand how someone plays a few years in the coast and goes over there. I don't understand the other way. If I had been over there and seen those places and played years, it would be really tough, no matter where, to come back
for sure.
And go back into like an 80-game schedule in minor pro, getting paid less.
For sure.
With aspirations up here. How many made it this year? Well, you got a 2% chance to get out. I'd be like, honestly, I'd be real tough.
It's very true. Tough. It is very true.
So now, I got you for 55 minutes here so far. Just a few left. Do you mind doing a little section at the end we call Rapid Fire Random?
I'm totally good with anything.
Okay, here we go. Rapid Fire Randoms with Mike McNamee of Boston Levi. Here we go. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
Flying.
Good choice. Death row meal. You freaked out. Someone came to one of your concerts and you something triggered. You took the guitar and you beat it over their fucking head. And you did this in Texas. Now you're up for death row. You got to get killed tomorrow. This is your last meal. What are you going to pick?
Probably a nice pizza of some sort.
What goes on the perfect pizza, by the way? This is another question.
Bacon, pepperoni, green peppers, probably.
Okay. A man of simple tastes. Okay. Favorite athlete outside of hockey? Doesn't have to be on the go now. Could be ever.
Oh, God. That's a tough one. I like Rafa Nadal.
Oh, great. That's off the board for most people going to tennis.
Roger Federer as well. I can't.
Underrated. How underrated are those guys? How do they do it? People ask me, how do you play ball hockey in ball hockey with the odd game? I mean, it's hard on the knees, of course.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you do what they do?
I don't know.
Day in, day out, every weekend for decades.
It's one sport I wish I was
for kneecaps.
It's one sport I wish I was really good at, and I'm not.
It must be incredible for cardio and for reflexes.
Yes.
Just to keep them going. Yeah. I mean, I often think, I don't know where this would go, but if I was like a shortstop in baseball, I played baseball, getting used to those hops and everything, you get a bit older. I mean, it must help to play ping pong or tennis. It must.
Yeah, for sure.
For reflexology.
I agree, for sure.
Okay. Something happened. You've become pissed off. One of these girls that you write about has broken your heart. You're like, I'm never going to write again, but now I'm going to be a DJ. So you got a gig in this club. Now you're a DJ, but you got to pick one of these names. DJ Mikey Mechanic. Take on Mike and the Mechanics, by the way, from the 80s. Slap Shots, just SLAPSOTZ. Or Noodles McGee.
I'll go with the first one.
Okay, Mikey Mechanic, DJ Mikey Mechanic. Now you got to sail around the world. Okay, so you're going to sail around the world. You're being provided good money. Let's say you're going to get paid $100,000 that's going to take you a few months. Okay. So you're in there, you're taken care of financially for this trip. You got good meals and everything. All you got to do is play your instrument and play your music for one of these sets of people.
Okay.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And you also get to converse with them. You're not just playing music. You're on a trip with them, okay? So
you got to be
you're
friends with
going to hang out with these people. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, Paul McCartney and Bruce Springsteen, Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, or Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings? That's a tough one. Because I would
Part
honestly...
of me wants to say Dre and Snoop, but
I know. There's something to be said about each.
Springsteen and Paul McCartney.
It's, I love the Beatles. I love McCartney, but I still would find that decision hard. And the fourth there is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, but I'm not laughing at that choice. I think that would still be intriguing to meet those people.
Yeah, it would.
For a lot of reasons. I just would probably take the other ones first. What's the longest relationship you ever had?
5 years.
Okay, here we go. I bet you. I'm not going to follow up. I bet you a lot of these songs, I bet a lot of inspiration for songs came from that. Pick an ex-teammate, okay? You're on that trip. Here you are. You're on the trip. Springsteen and McCartney are taken care of. They're in their cabins. You got this huge penthouse on the cruise ship, whatever the fuck you're on. Now, you get to take one of your ex-teammates as the chef.
Oh, man. One of my ex-teammates as the chef.
Somewhere maybe you're in junior, someone actually first time you get to realize that they could cook. My junior.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is this guy only cooking, or is he part of like the friendship group partying? All that
That's
stuff?
A great question. And I'm going to say he's part of it.
Guy I played with in Germany, Cody Sylvester is his name.
Cody Sylvester. I've heard that name. Did he come from Canadian Junior or NCAA?
He played in the Western League for Calgary, I believe.
There you go. I knew I'd heard that.
He played in Wheeling, and he's back in Atlanta now, actually.
Okay. I'm going to look at that name after. There's some link in my head to that guy. I played in the Western League too, so it's probably not too far away from the obvious. Okay, same thing. Now you got to take one of these, an ex-teammate, same situation to be the DJ. Now, of course, in between, you're doing your thing, but sometimes at night, you're going to have a drink with the guys, you're telling some stories, you want some music, right? Who are you going to take to be the DJ?
Oh, that's a great question.
And there's a lot of them. I know that hasn't changed. There's always 5 or 6 in a room that like to change the tunes, play the tunes.
This might be really off the board for what you've heard, but I just met you, but your taste seems impeccable. So would you be willing to be the DJ? I
would. I appreciate that. And that's good brownie points, my friend. I don't know how, but I will repay you somehow. It's the first time anybody ever said that, and I appreciate it. Coolest place that you've ever played a song, any song. Doesn't even have to be on stage. Maybe you played it for your girlfriend when you were 16 and wooed her. Maybe you played it on the back of a bus somewhere, or could have been with the Glorious Sons.
I mean, I will say New Year's was really cool. I've got 3. New Year's is awesome just because of the magnitude of it. We opened for the Suns at Kita Bala. I don't know if you know that place.
No.
But that's a legendary venue up in Bala, Ontario, like Muskoka areas.
Interesting.
That was just a really, really cool night. And then I would say in that bar in Germany, just going back to those days, it was pretty sweet.
I love walking into a bar over just a random bar in any of those places. It just feels like you're on another planet. It feels like time travel to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Favorite goal or one of them that pops to mind that you've ever scored? You've scored some big ones in some big places.
Favorite goal I've ever scored?
I mean, for me, it would be Game 7 overtime in junior. But it doesn't have to be that. It was also like, I remember vividly a goal that I scored in like camp. It meant nothing, but I just remember it because Patrick Waugh was in net. Like, is there any anything like that pops into your head?
I would say when I was in university, we did the university games in Kazakhstan, and I think it was the quarterfinals against Latvia. I scored a pretty big goal, and just meaningful wise, it was a good one. So,
and it's always nice if there's a bit of a crowd to vibe off of.
Yeah, for sure.
One place that you'd visit, you got a time machine, and you've got a two-way ticket anywhere. It doesn't even really have to be in the past. It could be 500 years in the future.
Yeah.
It could be I want to see Billy the Kid in the Wild West. Maybe I want to see the Beatles on Ed Sullivan. Maybe I want to see the dinosaurs.
I would say like to experience like Woodstock back in the day.
Yeah, that would be fucking wild. I really do. I'm fascinated by all of that. Like at the beginning of the 1960s, like Elvis wasn't really allowed to even wiggle his hips.
Yeah,
most people didn't even write their own songs. Elvis didn't write his own songs, right? And I do credit the Beatles for a lot of that, but Buddy Holly I fucking love, and he wrote all of them. Buddy Holly and the Crickets. But anyway, a lot of things. By the end of the 60s, I mean, the hair is long. There's fucking hippies smoking dope in public. And, and now everybody's writing their own songs. We got concept albums now, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, wow. Like, each year must have been a crazy advancement in, you know, we see it like now with technology, but at the time, music technology and music attitude and like the whole culture was really changing. I think that would be a real fascinating time, Woodstock, because you're seeing kind of both sides of it.
I think like another thing, like to see a concert, like whoever you want, like, I don't know, let's say the Stones or something, but with like no cell phones.
Yeah.
You know, just like people enjoying. Not that people don't enjoy it, but
well, but what would be neat about the '60s at any time? Again, I love that you mentioned the Stones, and I love they just came out with a good album. I like their new album, but because they were so, you know, anything then was you were kind of seeing that, you know, at its precipice, music was about to explode in so many directions, and it would be nice, to see it with no cell phone, no preconceived notion of what these guys are supposed to do. Let me just see the Ramones play fucking CBTGs. Let me see fucking Rolling Stones play a club, or the Beatles at the Cavern Club. Or, you know, I would also love to go there.
Yeah.
I mean, I could talk about this forever. How do you want to be remembered? And I don't mean as a musician or as and you're 31. It's not like you're fucking, I'm not talking to Clint Eastwood here. I'm talking to you like you're 96 years old. No, saying how do you, like, for me, I don't know. I guess I want people to remember that I'm somewhat, I'd rather like a good person, but of course anybody can say that. What do I do? What do I achieve? I guess I got lucky when it became an actor. So I hope people go, hey man, he's a decent actor, I suppose. But to me, I'm like, I take pride in my writing as an author, and I take pride in, you know, say what you want. My career didn't end up like it wanted to be, but I did play in the NHL, and I do take pride in playing for the Habs. How do I want to be remembered? Some mix of that and a good dad. Now, what do you know?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think number one, like, I always really kind of relate it to hockey terms, but like just a good teammate, a good dude. And then
it sums a lot up.
It does, I think, but like even outside of hockey, like a good dude, a good person. I don't have kids yet. I'm assuming I will someday, but obviously I would like to be a good father and a good father figure, and but like ambitious, not afraid to go after kind of what he wants to do. And
nice. Ambitious.
I haven't had
is a separating trait. Yeah, I like that.
I haven't had to work, knock on wood, a real job in my life. So I don't plan on doing it anytime soon.
Beautiful. That's a great answer in all levels. Do you have a most embarrassing moment?
Jeez.
For me, I got up on stage. I'm married now. I'm divorced twice. My ex-wife, Danielle, my daughter, Penny Lane's mother, honestly always been a really close friend. We laugh about it now. We're divorced, but we spend time together every day raising her. It's a really, really long story, but without getting into it, she's definitely, I don't want to say soulmate, but I'll always love Danielle my own way, and she the same. But I embarrassed. I got up. We were at her. We got married in a backyard, but when her parents found out about it, we said, okay, let's have a little ceremony. And we did it in Red Deer. I played junior there, but I played junior 3 years in Tri-City, and a lot of the boys lived in Edmonton or Calgary. Red Deer is smack dab in the middle. So what it ended up being is a bit of a reunion for the boys. I hadn't seen them, like, again, I'm over here in Newfoundland for the most part since that. Yeah. This was 2009 or 2010. And fucking, anyway, all the boys came. We got on mushrooms, too many. And her brother got on stage and like was welcoming me to the family, but he was kind of cutting me up, but in a very fun way. But I didn't see it as fun. Right. And I took the mic when he got off stage and I said, "You fucking asshole." I said, "How long did you wait at the draft?" I said, "I had a fucking ham sandwich and a coffee before Jerome McGinley's name got called. Who the fuck are you?" And I looked down and her dad was, and I thought I was being funny. And I was like poking and it just went silent. And I kept going.
Wasn't working.
It wasn't working. I kept going. I was carving and he's a decent looking guy. And I was like, look at those fucking ears. And I just kept going and going. Finally, they're yelling at me to get off. I got booed off the stage like the red light came on at a comedy club. And oh yeah. And her dad came in the bathroom and said, "If you ever do that, I'm thinking about calling this off now, motherfucker." And he had every right to do it. I felt so bad. It took me years to get back in with her family.
Wow.
Some of which is just happening now. But anyway, that was my most embarrassing moment by a landslide.
I would say I actually feel this often, like a lot, especially since entering the music scene. I've met like a lot of people in a short period of time, and they're like reoccurring people in the music scene or like friends of bandmates or stuff like that. I forget a lot of people's names.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I'm really, really, really self-conscious about it. So like I've gotten to a point now where like if we meet someone as a group and I shake their hand and 5 minutes later I'm going to go talk to them again, before I go talk to them, I'll ask someone in our group, I was like, what was this guy's name? Or what was her name, kind of thing. Honestly, it's not a good, I hate it about myself. I absolutely hate it about myself, but it's like, I don't know where my brain is when I'm meeting people, but it's like, it's just straight through and out the back. And I absolutely hate it. And I do get embarrassed about it.
That's a well-informed answer. That's my worst thing about a film set is passing by people that I should know. Hey, buddy. And I'm like, I know they can see right off the bat, right?
And they say your name, and they know your name. It's like they'll be like, "Hey, Mike," and
"Hey,
I'll be like,
TR. Hey, buddy. Hey, man, how you doing, pal?" Oh yeah, I know.
I actually got it on in the New Year's show. We were standing there. What the Glorious Sons did like an acoustic set before, and I was watching at the very back, and I just stand there with my arms crossed, and someone came up to me and said, "Hey, how's it going?" I said, "Good." And it's like, the Rolodex just starts going in your head. It's like, who are you? Where have I met you? They're like, "Good to see you again." And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I was like,
that's worse.
I literally said, "I don't, I apologize." Turns out she won a giveaway to come to one of my like acoustic private shows.
Oh yeah.
So she was there and I met her there, but it's like, I was like, I apologize. Like I'm terrible.
Those could be my most feared words in the world, more so than Ty Domi's left hook. More so than Ty Domi's left hook.
Remember me.
Hey, and going over it. And I'm like, I'm acting clearly. "Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. What's it? Yeah, it's here. You don't remember me, do you?" Oh God. I hate it. I feel like saying, man, I'd rather act like I do. Like, please, just
seriously.
let me. I'm an actor. Let me act. Fuck. I hate it because then you just feel like an idiot and they feel like an idiot. And especially the answer. I mean, if the answer is, we went to grade 3 together, I'll be like, okay, I'm not really expecting. But it could be, yeah, we were hanging out. I hired you to come speak to my kid. We hung out for the weekend in Flin Flon. You don't remember that? Oh, God. Or I'm your neighbor in St. John's. Oh, yes, of course. Okay, pick an NHL player to hit a home run. You've got it's Major League Baseball exhibition. You don't know who plays. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I know the only thing I know, the only player I know that played a bit of baseball is Sidney Crosby. So I'm going to say that only because he played. But you could say Ryan Reeves is a big guy. He could probably hit it out of the park, but does he play baseball? Who would you pick? Let's say straight fastballs. Kevin Gausman is pitching for the Jays. No curves, just straight fastballs. Who do you think in the NHL would get up there and be capable of hitting a home run?
I don't know why I'm saying this, but Jack Eichel.
Okay.
He seems like an athlete.
He does seem like an athlete.
Like an all-around athlete. That's the name that came to mind.
Big enough. I mean, Patrick Kane seems like an athlete, but he might get a lot of line drives. I don't see him putting it out. I think Eichel's got the size and strength. I think
there was a video of Matthews hitting a home run at Jay's batting practice, but I didn't want to say that because I knew he could do it.
I didn't know that, nor does it surprise me. One thing that still I'm surprised not a lot of people realize is how big Austin Matthews is.
Yeah.
Gets a lot of those goals because he's real strong in front. What profession would you think you would get into if not for hockey or the arts?
Oh, God. I mean, I did my degree at Carleton in psychology, so I'm going to say something along those lines.
I see. Psychology. I really loved. I have a folklore degree. Can you imagine? I went through 4 years of university, and I came out of it with a folklore English BA. Can get me nothing. I did learn a lot. I keep going back in my head and going, I did learn a lot, and I wrote a book while I was in there, I guess, using the skills, but it never really got me anything. I mean, hey, what the fuck am I going to get with a folklore degree? But part of that arts degree is psychology, right? You got to take your sciences. Yeah. I took the first 2. I was extremely intrigued, but there was nowhere I could go with it. Especially, I mean, unless I'm going to teach psych or go on to be a doctor or some shit, which I'm not. Your favorite drink, non-alcoholic. So I guess your favorite thirst quencher.
God. Lemonade of some sort.
And your favorite drink, alcoholic.
Spiced rum and Coke.
Love it. Ooh, I think mine might be spiced rum and root beer.
Really? I've never had that. I'm not a root beer fan, so.
I thought I came up with it back when there was no internet. I used to drink it in Fredericton with the Canadiens, and I thought for sure I used to go everywhere, and I thought I was giving everybody a nugget of information they'd never gotten before. And then now you just Google it; it's like goes back like 500 years or something. It's.
I will say I'm also a big cider guy. I don't drink beers. I don't enjoy the taste, which I know is weird, but
no, I'm with you. I drink a lot of them to get drunk. If I go out, there's beers. I know all the reps. Of course, I'll take your free beer. And I even promote it. But really, if
you have your choice, you're not choosing.
I don't have any, put it this way. If I'm at a party, I don't go, you know what, I'm not drinking, so give me a fake beer. Right. I just go, give me a Pepsi or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. And then I'll let you go. All time, you've got to pick. Let's just say me and you pick. You got to pick a team to beat mine. My team's irrelevant. 5 players and a goalie all time. In this world, they're all 28. In this hypothetical world. Now, you can't pick. You can't pick Gretzky, Lemieux, Howe, or Bobby Orr. Those are largely considered by most critics the top 4 players ever. Nor can you pick any Montreal Canadiens. Because there's too many legends.
Holy, this is a question.
It is, yeah. So you got 3 forwards. Now, the forwards don't have to be like slotted in at right wing. You could easily pick 3 centermen if you want,
Right. I'm going to go Sid because I love him.
Yeah, not a bad pick. I think he would be 5. If I just named the top 4, I've struggled with this before. It used to be Rocket Richard, but I think Sid now grabs the 5th spot for me. And if not for longevity, he might even, is it sacrilege? Is it blasphemous to say ahead of Gordie Howe? But for me, maybe.
Man, this is a really hard question for me.
Mm.
I'm kind of just going to pick my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Patrick Kane.
There's only 3 questions on this list that I ask everybody, and this is one of them.
This is one of them.
I've heard everything.
I'll do Sid, Patrick Kane.
mean, those two players there alone they both have 3 Stanley Cups each, scoring titles. They would, they came in before McDavid. I would think that they're two of the best. I mean, would you say Kane's the best American ever up there? Mike Modano. I mean, I think those are two real good choices.
And you're saying everybody's 28, right?
Everybody's in their prime.
I think I
guess technically you could go up and pick Connor Bedard. No one's ever done that.
I'm going to go Yager.
Technically you could take, okay, Yager, yeah.
D is where I'm going to struggle, to be very honest. I'm going to go with my mom loved this guy, Paul Coffey.
Well, he did have 49 goals as a defenseman. Can you imagine? He was nearly a 50, like one more just errant shot from the point, and he is a 50-goal scorer.
And I want a more modern day guy. I'm going to go with Lidstrom.
Lidstrom, I mean, one of the best players of all time. And I think somehow I would never have said it when I was playing hockey. I went to Sweden for a summer and practiced with him.
Really?
I needed to work on my skating, and he's from a place called Västerås.
Okay.
And we must have had the same agent. I don't know. But Montreal, good. One thing that I often say, a lot of people don't realize, like, I had my falling out with Michel Therrien, but I had a great time in Montreal for the most part. And they would, I could just bring it up and they would do it. If they said they'd send me anywhere on earth and pay for it if it made sense. And I was like, I kind of want to meet Nick Lidstrom. If I need to work on my skating, I'd love to go overseas. Boom. Sure, Terry, me and Brad Brown. Boom. Month and a half, Västerås, with Tommy Salo and Nick Lidstrom and a guy, Peter Popovich. Anyway, that was a unique situation. And that back then, everybody knew he was the best. And it's all often, now it's like starting to get lost on people. He was one of the best defensemen ever.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
now you got to pick a goalie.
A lot of good ones. So I can't pick Montreal Canadiens.
No, I know you'd go with Waugh, your old alma mater there, but no.
I was going to. Who's a goalie that I like a
lot? You got.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess who would it possibly be now? Maybe Vasilevsky. I can't think of anybody else on an all-time team. I guess Carey Price.
Like Lundqvist, too, it comes to mind.
Martin Brodeur. Oh, Lundqvist just retired. It's a good one. I mean, fuck. Wow. Yeah. I think could be the best goalie without a cup. I don't think he's got one. No, he doesn't.
I think I'm gonna go with Vasilevsky. Recency bias.
Hey man, what's he, 6'5", 6'6"? I often wondered when I was coming up, like it was common for goalies to be like 5'9", and I often wondered, like, Jesus, like just physics alone, if there's a guy huge, like I was surprised that I didn't see more. Now it's the opposite. Right. Now a guy like Soros, I think he's like 5'10", and he's tiny.
Does a really
which
good
makes
job.
Sense. At some point, people were going to wake up to that. I don't know if it's more big goalies playing or just scouts went, okay, there's more of the net covered.
Okay, what's your team?
My team? Oh, interesting.
You said I got to beat you, so.
Okay, well, who would I pick? I would for sure pick Crosby, but I'm going to go off your map, okay? I'm going to take Steve Yzerman.
Okay.
I'll take... My goalie will be Terry Sawchuk.
Wow.
I'm reading about him now. I feel bad that I didn't appreciate him. I don't watch much about him. Everything I read, he was really disturbed as an individual. But by all accounts, an incredible gamer and a great goalie, just statistically alone. But it's really interesting, man. The story of Terry Sawchuk will have your mind spinning. So I'm intrigued more than anything. But he's a great goalie. And I'm going to go old just because people are listening. Might as well wake them up to who I'm talking about. Okay, so I got one forward and I got the goalie. D, I probably would have picked Lidstrom, but if not, I'm going to take Scott Niedermayer.
That's a good choice.
And I'm I don't know why my heart says to go Larry Robinson, but then I'm going to go with a right shot. Let me go with Drew Doughty of today.
Wow.
I got a left and a right shot. And, okay. Forward, I got Yzerman already. Jesus. I suppose I'm going to go Connor McDavid.
It's probably
It's just so obvious. It's so obvious, but I should almost take him off the list. But since he's on it, I'll pick it. And I need a bit of strength up there. I got a right shot, a left shot. I'm going to go Mark Messier. How about that?
Very good.
And Messier, by the way, I think a lot of smoke and mirrors. People got him picked as this like tough. I don't remember seeing him drop his gloves, but ruthless, really strong. I played one game against him, and like there was always that, is he going to cross-check me in the eye? Not me personally. If you watch like Canada Cup and shit, man, he's like knocking people out.
Right.
He hit Mike Modano with one of the dirtiest plays I've ever seen. When this fucking thing is over, Google Mark Messier on Mike Modano. It's when they dropped him. They stretched him off and they dropped him by accident.
Yeah.
But now, of course, a lot of people would be upset at that, and they should be. But point is, that's Mark Messier, and he'd do anything to win. And if I'm playing against him, I've always got my head on a swivel to the point that it might even affect how I play. And I know that because I played against him, so I'm going to throw him into that mix. I don't really feel like that with anybody else I've mentioned. Maybe Doughty a little bit, but Messier had, okay, we're losing. I'm going to cut you for 30 over the eye. Right? And there's something to be said for that. I don't care.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
So, I mean, I couldn't do it, but whatever. I mean, with the stick, I didn't mind fighting. Okay, do you have anything else to add? Do you have anything else to promote before I let you go?
No, thanks for having us. For those listening, obviously Boston Levi is the band name. We got a long way to go, but we're off to a good start. So if you can listen, we appreciate it.
Fantastic. Well, listen, man, keep in touch. I'm going to throw you my digits after this. I'm in Ottawa a lot, to be honest. I got a lot of friends there. And when I was in Montreal, I would drive, and it's a short drive. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yep.
And I'd spend a lot of time. I had friends in Nepean, going to Brock. Not Brock. There's a Algonquin College.
Yeah, Algonquin.
And I also University of Ottawa. I over the years, I've spent a couple of years in Ottawa, and if I'm there again, I'm going to let you know. Now, if you're ever in my neck of the woods, obviously you're going to let me know if you're playing.
For sure we will.
Okay.
That's a for sure.
Well, thanks a lot, Mike McNamee, and thanks to Boston Levi. Good luck to you guys. I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope to hear from you soon, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Okay, see you later. Good luck, and Happy New Year. Okay, folks, that's been episode 186B of Tales with TR with my buddy Mike McNamee. That was very interesting. I hope it was as intriguing for you as it was for me. And if you're in downtown St. John's and you want to grab a beer, I'd go to Trinity Pub, TJ's Pub, Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, Green Sleeves, and of course, the Bull and Barrel. If I'm going to go for a bite to eat, why not go to try out the Loose Tie, Merchant Tavern, Blue on Water, or Wedgwood Cafe, who also do catering. Talk to Peter Wedgwood at Wedgwood Cafe. If you want strength and balance for the body and mind, look no further than Ryan Power, ex-professional hockey player and great trainer. You don't have to be an athlete. This guy trains all ages and is one of the best at what he does. If you want to go to Mr. Lube, there's 2 locations in St. John's, Newfoundland. One's on Torbay Road. One's on Kenmount Road. Live, laugh, lube, Pitbull Pain Relief, the pain sticks that just don't quit. Go to pitbullpainrelief.com and see what all the fuss is about. And of course, True Hockey. Take what's yours, folks. Thanks a lot for tuning in to Tales with TR, episode 186B, featuring Mike McNamee, Boston of Boston, Levi. Be back in just a couple of days with some more stories. I'll catch you all on the rebound. Thanks for listening.